Numbers 14. The Israelites' complaint. The entire community raised their voice, and the people wept that night. All the Israelites criticized Moses and Aaron. The entire community said to them, "If only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in this desert. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land to fall by the sword? Our wives and our children will be taken by force. Wouldn't it be better for us to return to Egypt?" So they said to each other, "Let's pick a leader, and let's go back to Egypt." Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before the assembled Israelite community. But Joshua, Nun's son, and Caleb, Jephunneh's son, from those who had explored the land, tore their clothes and said to the entire Israelite community, "The land we crossed through to explore is an exceptionally good land. If the Lord is pleased with us, He'll bring us into this land and give it to us. It's a land that's full of milk and honey. Only don't rebel against the Lord, and don't be afraid of the people of the land. They are our prey. Their defense has deserted them, but the Lord is with us, so don't be afraid of them." But the entire community intended to stone them. The Lord's anger and Moses' intercession. Then the Lord's glory appeared in the meeting tent to all the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people disrespect me? And how long will they doubt me after all the signs that I performed among them? I'll strike them down with a plague and disown them. Then I'll make you into a great nation, stronger than they." Moses said to the Lord, "The Egyptians will hear, for with your power you brought these people up from among them. They'll tell the inhabitants of this land, they've heard that you, Lord, are with this people. You, Lord, appear to them face to face. Your cloud stands over them. You go before them in a column of cloud by day and in a column of lightning by night. If you kill these people, every last one of them, the nations who heard about you will say, 'The Lord wasn't able to bring these people to the land that He solemnly promised to give them, so He slaughtered them in the desert.' Now let my master's power be as great as you declared when you said, 'The Lord is very patient and absolutely loyal, forgiving wrongs and disloyalty. Yet He doesn't forego all punishment, disciplining the grandchildren and great-grandchildren for their ancestors' wrongs. Please forgive the wrongs of these people because of your absolute loyalty, just as you've forgiven these people from their time in Egypt until now.' Then the Lord said, 'I will forgive as you requested, but as I live and as the Lord's glory fills the entire earth, none of the men who saw my glory and the signs I did in Egypt and in the desert, but tested me these 10 times and haven't listened to my voice, will see the land I promised to their ancestors. All who disrespected me won't see it, but I'll bring my servant Caleb into the land that he explored, and his descendants will possess it because he has a different spirit and he has remained true to me. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites live in the valley, tomorrow turn and march into the desert by the route of the Reed Sea." The Israelites' punishment. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, "How long will this wicked community complain against me? I've heard the Israelites' dissent as they continue to complain against me. Say to them, 'As I live, says the Lord, just as I've heard you say, so I'll do to you. Your dead bodies will fall in this desert. None of you who were enlisted and were registered from 20 years old and above, who complained against me, will enter the land in which I promised to settle you, with the exception of Caleb, Jephunneh's son, and Joshua, Nun's son. But your children, whom you said would be taken by force, I'll bring them in, and they will know the land that you rejected. Your bodies, however, will fall in this desert, and your children will be shepherds in the desert for 40 years. They will suffer for your unfaithfulness until the last of your bodies fall in the desert. For as many days as you explored the land, that is, 40 days, just as many years you'll bear your guilt, that is, 40 years. This is how you will understand my frustration. I, the Lord, have spoken. I will do this to the entire wicked community who gathered against me. They will die in this desert. There they'll meet their end. The men whom Moses sent out to explore the land had returned and caused the entire community to complain against him by starting a rumor about the land. These men died by a plague in the Lord's presence on account of their false rumor. But Joshua, Nun's son, and Caleb, Jephunneh's son, survived from those men who went to explore the land. Moses spoke these words to all the Israelites, and the people mourned bitterly. They rose early in the morning and went up to the top of the mountain range, saying, "Let's go up to the place the Lord told us to, for we have sinned." But Moses said, "Why do you disobey the Lord's command? It won't succeed. Don't go up, for the Lord isn't with you. Don't be struck down before your enemies. The Amalekites and the Canaanites will be there in front of you, and you will fall by the sword because you turned away from the Lord, and the Lord is no longer with you." Yet they recklessly ascended toward the top of the mountains, even though Moses and the Lord's chest containing the covenant didn't depart from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who lived in those mountains descended, struck them down, and beat them all the way to Hormah. Numbers 15. Immigrants in the land of Canaan. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land where you will live, which I am giving you, and you make a food gift to the Lord as a soothing smell for the Lord from the herd or the flock, whether an entirely burned offering or a sacrifice to fulfill a solemn promise or a spontaneous gift, or at your sacred seasons, the one presenting the offering to the Lord will bring a grain offering of 1/10 of a measure of fine flour mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil. You will also offer 1/4 of a hin of wine as a drink offering, with either the entirely burned offering or the sacrifice for each lamb. For a ram, you will offer a grain offering of 2/10 of a measure of fine flour mixed with 1/3 of a hin of oil. You will also present 1/3 of a hin of wine for a drink offering as a soothing smell for the Lord. When you offer a bull for an entirely burned offering, or a sacrifice to fulfill a solemn promise, or a well-being sacrifice to the Lord, you will present with the bull a grain offering of 3/10 of a measure of fine flour mixed with a half hin of oil. You will present a half hin of wine for a drink offering as a food gift that is a soothing smell to the Lord. So will it be done with each ox, each ram, or for any sheep or goat. However many you offer, you will do the same for each one. Every citizen will perform these rituals in bringing a food gift that is a soothing smell to the Lord. If an immigrant lives with you or has settled among you for many years and would also like to offer a food gift that is a soothing smell to the Lord, that person must do just as you do. The assembly will have the same regulation for you and for the immigrant. The regulation will be permanent for all time. You and the immigrant will be the same in the Lord's presence. There will be one set of instructions and one legal norm for the immigrant and for you. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land to which I'm bringing you, whenever you eat the land's food, you will present a gift offering to the Lord. You will present a gift offering from the first bread you bake, just like you present a gift offering from the threshing floor. You will give a gift offering from the first bread you bake for all time. offerings for accidental sin. If by accident you don't obey all these commands that the Lord spoke to Moses, or everything that the Lord commanded you through Moses from the day of the Lord's command onward for all time, then if it was done unintentionally without the knowledge of the community, the entire community must offer one bull from the herd as an entirely burned offering, a soothing smell to the Lord, with its grain and drink offering according to the specific instruction, and one male goat for a purification offering. The priest will seek reconciliation for the entire Israelite community. They will be forgiven because it was unintentional and because they brought their food gift to the Lord, along with their purification offering in the Lord's presence for their accidental error. The entire Israelite community and the immigrant residing among them will be forgiven because all the people acted unintentionally. If an individual sins unintentionally, that person must present a 1-year-old female goat for a purification offering. The priest will seek reconciliation in the Lord's presence for the person who sinned unintentionally when the sin is an accident, seeking reconciliation so that person will be forgiven. There will be one set of instructions for the Israelite citizen and the immigrant residing with you for anyone who commits an unintentional sin. Punishment for intentional sin. But the person who acts deliberately, whether a citizen or an immigrant, and insults the Lord, that person will be cut off from the people for despising the Lord's word and breaking his commands. That person will be completely cut off and bear the guilt. Instructions for Sabbath observance. When the Israelites were in the desert, they found a man gathering wood on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering wood brought him to Moses, Aaron, and the entire community. They placed him in custody because it wasn't clear what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses, "The man should be put to death. The entire community should stone him outside the camp." The entire community took him outside the camp and stoned him. He died as the Lord had commanded Moses. Fringes on garments. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, make fringes on the edges of your clothing for all time. Have them put blue cords on the fringe on the edges. This will be your fringe. You will see it and remember all the Lord's commands and do them. Then you won't go exploring the lusts of your own heart or your eyes. In this way, you'll remember to do all my commands. Then you will be holy to your God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God." Psalms 90, a prayer of Moses, the man of God. Lord, you have been our help generation after generation, before the mountains were born, before you birthed the earth and the inhabited world. From forever in the past to forever in the future, you are God. You return people to dust, saying, "Go back, humans," because in your perspective, 1,000 years are like yesterday past, like a short period during the night watch. You sweep humans away like a dream, like grass that is renewed in the morning. True, in the morning it thrives, renewed, but come evening it withers, all dried up. Yes, we are wasting away because of your wrath. We are paralyzed with fear on account of your rage. You put our sins right in front of you. Set our hidden faults in the light from your face. Yes, all our days slip away because of your fury. We finish up our years with a whimper. We live at best to be 70 years old, maybe 80 if we're strong. But their duration brings hard work and trouble because they go by so quickly, and then we fly off. Who can comprehend the power of your anger? The honor that is due you corresponds to your wrath. Teach us to number our days so we can have a wise heart. Come back to us, Lord, please, quick. Have some compassion for your servants. Fill us full every morning with your faithful love so we can rejoice and celebrate our whole life long. Make us happy for the same amount of time that you afflicted us, for the same number of years that we saw only trouble. Let your acts be seen by your servants. Let your glory be seen by their children. Let the kindness of the Lord our God be over us. Make the work of our hands last. Make the work of our hands last.